Malik Carter stood backstage of the famous live show Hot Seat, breathing slowly as bright studio lights painted white stripes across the floor, and he reminded himself that today was only another pitch, not a fight. The 29-year-old tech and fashion entrepreneur wore his trademark charcoal hoodie over a crisp white shirt, a look that blended boardroom polish with street hustle, symbolizing the company he had built from scrap tires. Behind him hung a giant screen looping clips of his recyclable sneaker factory in Detroit, machines hissing like slow trains while workers in blue overalls pressed glowing molds into sleek shoes. Malik whispered a quiet thank you for every person on that screen, because each paycheck meant one fewer empty fridge in his old neighborhood on 7 Mile Road, especially on cold winter nights when hunger stings most. A floor manager holding a clipboard the size of a pizza box waved frantically, signaling him to move to the stage entrance where red arrows blinked like cautious traffic lights. The audience clapped as the show returned from commercials, but the claps felt thin, almost polite, compared with the loud guitar riff that boomed through speakers as the host strutted to center stage. Blake Stanton, tall, silver-haired, and famous for slicing guests with sarcastic grins, stretched his arms like a carnival ringmaster, welcoming a daredevil into a flaming cage. Malik stepped forward, shoulders back, hearing his mother's nightly advice echoing. Turn nerves into fuel, baby, just like you turned old rubber into gold, words that felt like soft armor around his heart. Cameras rolled on metal tracks, their little red lights blinking heartbeat rhythms, and he wondered how many living rooms were about to judge his every nod, smile, and slip of the tongue all at once. A makeup artist darted in to dab sweat from his brow, whispering that ratings were record high tonight because the promos had promised a no-holds-barred debate on race and success. Malik glanced at the studio clock, 6:03 p.m., and pictured sixth-grade Malik walking home past closed factories, kicking stones, dreaming of building something that would never lock its gates. A producer's countdown started at 5, 4, 3, 2, and the final finger point felt like a starter pistol. Suddenly, he was seated across from Blake under a halo of stage light. The host opened with a smile as thin as fishing line, praising Malik's rags to riches narrative before hinting that lucky breaks often hide behind every so-called success story. Malik returned the smile, careful to keep it warm, and thanked Blake for inviting him, because polite beginnings plant calm roots even when storms are forecast. Blake's first question sounded friendly. Tell us about Green Stride sneakers. Yet the tone carried a drizzle of doubt, as though Eco Shoes were a school science fair rather than a multi-million-dollar brand with warehouses on 2 coasts. Malik began simply, explaining how he collected discarded tires, ground them into granules, and fused them with algae foam to make soles that bent like fresh bread and lasted longer than leather. He spoke of hiring returning citizens, men and women once behind bars, training them in coding robotic cutters, giving them second chances just as he had asked for a first. Audience murmurs rose, soft thunder of interest, and Malik let the numbers flow. 400 jobs, 70% local hires, 0 landfill waste. Each fact a brick in a growing bridge of trust reaching toward every seat in the studio. Blake nodded yet tapped his pen, a drummer warming up, then pivoted, asking if government grants, not grit, greased the wheels of this operation. Malik shook his head gently and clarified that most funding came from online supporters who pre-ordered shoes they had never touched, believing in a cleaner future they had never seen. The host's eyebrows arched like startled cats, and he joked about internet hype bubbles, but Malik answered with steady eyes, noting that hype fades while honest comfort keeps walking. A large screen behind them flashed testimonials from nurses, teachers, and bus drivers who wore Green Stride pairs on long shifts, saying that soft soles turned aching nights into restful breakfasts. Children in the front row leaned forward, eyes wide at the video of glowing green soles made in a swirling pool of blue algae that looked like a galaxy in a kiddie pool. Malik waved at them and explained, in easy words, that trash can become treasure when people care enough to imagine a different ending for broken things, like turning old comic books into colorful collages. Blake's smile thinned further, and he flipped to the next cue card as though it were a secret weapon. Malik felt tension tighten like a belt one hole too far, yet he kept his breath smooth. Still, he kept breathing slow, counting 3 seconds in and 4 out, the way his former basketball coach had taught for free throw focus under noisy bleachers. The host quoted a recent blog calling eco startups privilege projects and asked if Malik would admit that his college scholarships gave him an unfair head start. Malik answered that a scholarship is a tool, not a finish line, and tools mean little without hands ready to blister, crack, and heal again. He described cleaning restaurant grills at 16 to buy a second-hand laptop, stealing late-night Wi-Fi from a closed library parking lot to teach himself code. Audience gasps fluttered like paper birds, and Malik felt a warmth that was not stage light but the quiet fire of shared struggle recognized. He told them the first sneaker prototype melted in summer heat, turning soles into sticky puddles on a friend's porch, and everyone laughed with him at the gooey disaster. Blake tried to pivot again, asking if Malik's focus on hiring formerly incarcerated workers posed safety risks, but Malik answered that community roots grow strongest in soil of forgiveness. A spotlight shifted, illuminating Malik's sneakers, neon lime stripes against matte black, as if to say the product itself had words to add. Malik leaned forward, hands clasped, and said that when factories close, crime grows like weeds. When factories open, hope grows like sunflowers, tall enough for everyone to share shade. Applause erupted, first small then swelling, and Malik bowed his head slightly, grateful but still ready for whatever twist came next. Blake, sensing momentum slide, quickly promised a challenging follow-up after a commercial break, his tone sugaring the threat like candy over sour medicine, hoping to recapture control and ratings. Studio lights dimmed halfway, and stagehands rolled out a glossy desk sign reading Round 2, bright red letters that reminded Malik of a boxing bell. He sipped water, cool and metallic, imagining it was from the drinking fountain at Elmwood Middle, where he first heard a teacher say entrepreneurship, a word he practiced until it stopped tripping his tongue. A nearby monitor replayed his earlier soundbite about turning trash to treasure, and he allowed himself one short smile, because some messages land even before the debate is done. The countdown resumed from 10 this time, and as the final second blinked away, Malik exhaled, steady as a runner at mile 20, ready to face the next curve in the race. Studio music faded, and Blake leaned over the desk, his grin sharpened like a pocket knife, announcing a rapid-fire game he called Fact or Fancy. Graphic boards popped up, each displaying bold claims about minority businesses closing faster than others, timed with buzzers borrowed from quiz shows. Blake fired the first statement. Black-owned startups fail within 3 years at twice the national rate, fact or fancy? And cameras swooped in for close-ups, hoping to capture a bead of sweat that never appeared. Malik answered fancy without blinking, then produced a flash drive, and spreadsheets filled the giant screen with federal data correcting the myth. The numbers showed survival gaps shrink when credit access is equal, proving barriers, not brilliance, decide outcomes, and analysts drew colored arrows on screen, pretending the sweep of Malik's arm explained consumer confidence. He highlighted a Detroit microloan program that paired mentoring with capital, and the audience scribbled notes as if studying for tomorrow's quiz. Blake rang a buzzer anyway, shouting partial bankruptcy stats. Malik calmly offered his laptop so viewers could see the full tables. Children giggled when Blake hesitated. The buzzer echoed like a fly swatter in a quiet library. And a teen in the balcony yelled, "School him, Malik." The host moved to the next card. Most diversity pledges are marketing smoke. Companies rarely hire beyond internships. Malik called it half-fact, citing improved recruitment but weak retention, then outlined Greenstride's ladder mapping every janitor to a management seat. Photos of Carla, once a floor sweeper now quality control lead, flashed on screen, her badge shining like a tiny sun, and sound text adjusted levels as applause washed over the set like a tidal surge. Blake cut in louder, but Malik displayed satellite images of algae ponds beside his factory, shrinking transport miles to mere meters. He compared that to leather crossing oceans on diesel ships. A cartoon carbon counter ticked red for leather, green for algae, simple enough for kids. Kids gasped. Blake's cheeks matched the angry thermometer graphic, his eyelids blinking back both anger and mercy together. The host called Malik a cherry picker. Malik replied that unnamed studies are bedtime stories, and a QR code appeared, phones rising like fireflies. Blake's voice cracked on crime statistics. Malik played a police clip crediting jobs for a 30% theft drop, and audience claps rolled like porch roof rain. The freeze frame of a boy in slush stayed crisp in listener minds, and social feeds looped the moment under hashtag #TeachBlake. Blake finally dropped the cards, asking why Malik kept proving him wrong. Malik smiled and said truth is balanced like a beam. People tip it with fear or profit. He called correction a repair, like patching a roof so everyone underneath stays dry, and viewers tweeted the line within seconds, stamping scales memes. The comparison clicked. Older audience members hummed agreement, picturing tar-stained wallpaper and buckets catching drips. Blake sighed, clapped, and producers showed live stats of viewers spiking. Hidden motors of engagement hummed under every row of seats. Malik thanked him, saying debates should dig for facts, not digs at people, a line teachers later printed on classroom posters. The host proposed a live demo. Malik would build a shoe on air, Stagehands rolled bins of tires, algae gel, and recycled fabric. Malik joked about cook shows, slipped on gloves, and within minutes pressed a sole, the heat gun hissing and smelling faintly of ocean breeze mixed with fresh tires. He invited Blake to smell the sneaker. The host, cornered, did and admitted it pleasant, lights on camera rails reflecting like dawn across polished floors. The crowd chanted "Green Stride" as Malik handed the shoe to a boy wearing worn-out sandals. Surprise tasted like lemonade on a sweltering day. The boy hugged it. Social media clips trended, interns backstage mouthing wow while typing furiously, stacking like candles in a blackout. Blake, desperate, asked if Malik feared becoming a token success. Malik replied tokens get spent, blueprints get copied, promising open-source designs next year. The promise felt like neighbors passing candles during a blackout, sharing small flames, fireworks gifs of exploding color over blueprint spread online. Standing applause broke studio rules. Technicians scrambled as lights flickered, and control room flashed, "Extend time." Blake leaned back, realizing the show was now Malik's classroom. He rolled shoulders, easing knots like pebbles hidden in shoes. Malik used the break to thank ushers, scribbling internship offers for 2 seniors. Seniors grinned, holding the note like a golden ticket. When cameras returned, half the audience wore Green Stride stickers, living billboards of hope. Producers panned wide shots, the set part town hall, part pep rally, fireworks metaphor looped across feeds. Blake opened his mouth to close, but applause drowned him. Online feeds from phones kept rolling, even as ads cut in. Malik shook hands with crew, calm patience impressing veterans who had watched hundreds of nervous guests stumble away. He jotted gratitude to the janitor, who kept the floor spotless, proving that small thank yous undergird big moments. The countdown for the next show loomed, yet audience energy refused to fade, humming like city power lines at dusk. Malik closed his eyes one heartbeat, storing the sound for tough days ahead, then opened them to meet every gaze head-on. The director finally called wrap, but everyone knew another chapter had started, and the credits could only trail behind it. With the extended minute granted, Malik walked to the stage edge, confetti shadows swirling underfoot, and began softly. He admitted he once thought success was a trophy for one, but tonight he saw it was a wide table waiting for extra chairs. He told of Grandma Gloria, who cleaned offices at dawn, hands smelling of lemon bleach yet still tucking quarters into a jar marked college. Every clink sounded like a drumbeat of belief, and those beats guided him more steadily than any GPS route. Malik thanked the crowd, then asked viewers holding remotes like shields to lower them for 60 seconds and picture a country where zip codes decide pizza toppings, not potential. He painted schools with 3D printers, libraries open past dinner, playgrounds lit bright enough for safe night tag, imagination glowing blue like swings under starlight. Producers gestured Blake to silence, understanding some crescendos arrive once in a decade. Malik continued, "Businesses are bridges over rivers of doubt, and no one should charge tolls by skin tone or accent. Shoes," he said, "are promises. We'll take you somewhere. You supply the courage." Analysts later called it the sneaker doctrine. He paused 8 seconds. Air vent hushed, and couches nationwide creaked as viewers leaned closer. Breaking the hush, he said, "If you own tomorrow, lend it to someone stuck in yesterday." A line newscasters would quote at sunrise an art student's stencil on murals. He explained lending tomorrow meant tutoring classmates, hiring neighbors, voting for schools, or refusing to laugh at cruel jokes. Malik confessed he once laughed along to fit in each chuckle rent paid on doubt, and tonight he canceled that lease. Social scientists labeled the collective nod resonance. Raising a sneaker, he showed the tread and said soles were smoother together. Friction shared grows lighter. He invited Blake to hold it. In that touch, viewers sensed bias walls thinning like fog under morning sun. Malik told inventors to sketch what scares them. Daylight chases monsters. He asked parents to ask, "What problem will you solve?" instead of "What will you be?" shifting futures from nouns to verbs. Policymakers got a challenge to fund first ideas as boldly as they fund final stadiums. Lawmakers scribbled notes backstage. To rivals, he pledged patent sharing, arguing competition without a planet is a race on a burning track. Blake whispered time, but control room extended again, sensing a national moment. Malik wove Langston Hughes' dreams with his own. Dreams shared bloom faster, because more hands water the pot. Charities surged. Memes of watering cans spread. He urged viewers to post one helpful link, not one angry meme. Ticker spikes crashed servers built for sports finals. He closed saying, "America's greatness is a choir, not a scoreboard." and thunderous applause blew confetti cannons meant for holidays. Colorful paper spiraled. Malik laughed, floating above the roar, decibels peaking as teleprompters shook. Blake extended a genuine handshake. Sketches of the neon-outlined clasp trended within minutes. Audience refused to leave, chanting, "Lynn tomorrow." Security ushers clapped along, scripts forgotten. Backstage, executives drafted press releases praising unity and record engagement. Advertisers begged for rerun slots, Goodwill smelling like fresh cookies. Living rooms buzzed. Grandparents texted grandkids. Teachers rewrote plans. Mayors invited Malik to visit. The Lynn tomorrow line passed gossip and playoff scores, a rare takeover by a hopeful sentence. Malik's final sign-off, "Your voice is a builder. Raise roofs, not rumors," wrapped the segment audiences would replay like a favorite song. Lights dimmed, yet hearts stayed bright. Even city traffic seemed quieter, drivers replaying the speech on dashboards. TV critics called it the most watched unscripted minute of the decade. Ratings graphs spiked like roller coasters. Podcast hosts announced emergency episodes. Bookstores displayed shoe-themed window art before sunrise. In farm country, mechanics tuned radios to catch reruns while welding tractors, proof the message crossed every lane. Blake wrote one word in his notebook, "Listen," drawing a box around it 3 times. Studio janitors found audience post-its reading "Hope lives here," sticking them on camera stands. The cleaning crew paused to read them, smiling at words they normally sweep away. Outside, night air tasted electric. Even street vendors sold Lynn tomorrow hot dogs, donating proceeds to school clubs. Malik's flight home was delayed by well-wishers in the terminal, selfies taken beside cardboard cutouts of green sneakers. Somewhere in baggage claim a boy practiced the phrase entrepreneurship, no longer tripping on syllables. Morning dawned across the country, tuned to one headline, "Entrepreneur School's host." Breakfast shows replayed Malik's gestures in slow motion, analysts diagramming arm angles like game-winning jump shots. Hosts who once competed with Blake thanked him for ratings gold, relief, and sincerity mixing in measured smiles. Newspapers splashed the sneaker metaphor above the fold, confetti particles edited to shine like northern lights. Teachers sliced the speech into 6th-grade passages, praising vocabulary that traveled on sturdy words like bricks on a wagon. At Greenstride headquarters, phones rang non-stop, retailers, charities, even a Hollywood studio. But Malik still paused to check safety sensors. Malik walked the factory floor, fist-bumping workers and pausing to adjust a conveyor sensor. Viral fame could wait while safety could not. Jackson, now shift leader, wiped tears with an oil-stained rag, telling cameras that steel, not stigma, ran in their veins. Social media servers groaned as #LynTomorrow surpassed cat videos. Engineers joked hope weighed more and needed stronger code. Digital maps lit coast to coast whenever a school pledged a Tomorrow Lab, fireworks of commitment flickering online. Blake, awake to mixed reviews, filmed a sincere apology duet clip influencers later underscored with dance routines. Comment sections swapped trolling for green sneaker emojis, small peace offerings stacking towards stars. The network offered Malik a primetime special called Building Bridges, but he accepted only if the first episodes filmed in towns that had lost factories. Economists debated if stories alone ignite industry, yet recycled material stock soared in what bloggers dubbed the Malik effect. In barbershops and boardrooms, people tested Lynn tomorrow on their tongues. Podcasts dissected its rhythm. Community centers received anonymous crates of art supplies tagged "Build Something," sparking puppet theaters from cardboard. Late-night comedians dropped punchlines for sincerity. One host wiped an eye and admitted jokes should rest when hearts breathe. Tickets for Blake's crowd question town hall sold out. Scalpers cut prices, reluctant to profit off discourse. University syllabi added the interview under "When the frame breaks and truth walks in." At home, 81-year-old Grandma Gloria stirred tea beside the same coin jar, belief still loving the clang of spare change. A children's author pitched Grandma's coin drum. With profits to literacy, Malik balanced gratitude with boundaries so focus stayed on shoes, not celebrity. He emailed Blake about co-writing an op-ed on fair journalism. Blake replied with a handshake gif of tiny gears. Overseas, startups in Lagos and Manila announced eco-summits, while bamboo innovators invited Malik to keynote. British and French papers ran translations. Global supply experts modeled algae ponds near ports. Parents reported kids requesting recycled shoes over video games, stunning catalog marketers. Malik ended the day on a Detroit rooftop, skies clearer above scrubbers his company funded, whispering rent paid, hope renewing daily. The promise echoed off glass towers, city answering, deal accepted. A cool breeze carried whistles and jazz, lullaby from porch nights long past. He rolled a soul sample between fingers, thinking material science is empathy for feet. Streetlights sparked on, long shadows remained, but good shoes travel far, especially in company. Choir directors on social media thanked him, saying he captured music's democratic spirit in one line. Decibels peaked and even teleprompters shook on their steel poles. Pop-up kiosks in city squares streamed the first episode free, encouraging unscripted questions on chalkboards. The handshake still shot sparks into hashtags, inspiring digital artists to sketch it in neon outlines. Audience wore green pins, scarves, and laces, symbols of shared stake in the story. Advertisers begged for rerun slots, smelling goodwill like fresh cookies cooling on a windowsill. Lawmakers backstage scribbled notes, guessing Malik's phrases would echo in committee hearings tomorrow. Within minutes, charities reported donor surges, meme pages illustrating quarreling notes turning into sheet music. Decibels settled, but momentum rolled on like wheels newly greased for a cross-country trip. Somewhere a child practiced entrepreneurship for tomorrow's spelling bee, convinced it spelled possibility. Morning dawned across the United States like a flipped switch, turning on televisions, phones, and coffee pots to the same headline, Entrepreneur School's host. Breakfast shows replayed Malik's minute, slowing frames to highlight each hand gesture as if analyzing a winning basketball shot, and analysts drew colored arrows on screen, pretending the sweep of Malik's arm explained consumer confidence better than quarterly reports. Hosts who once competed with Blake now thanked him for airtime well spent, their smiles equal parts genuine and relieved to share in ratings gold. Newspapers printed the sneaker metaphor above the fold, pairing it with photos of confetti sparkling like distant galaxies around Malik's uplifted face, and photo editors boosted the confetti's hue so every particle looked like a mini northern light, bright enough to wake sleepy commuters at first glance. Teachers downloaded the speech, slicing it into reading passages for sixth graders, noting the vocabulary fit classes without extra glossaries, and reading specialists praised the clarity, noting complex themes traveled on simple words like bricks on a sturdy wagon. At Greenstride headquarters, phone lines rang nonstop, stores requesting stock, charities seeking partnerships, and a Hollywood studio asking about film rights. One caller claimed the shoes cured his knee pain, prompting laughter but also for medical study proposals within the hour. Malik walked the factory floor, fist-bumping workers while ensuring machines stayed cool under new double shifts arranged overnight, and he paused to adjust a conveyor belt, proving viral fame could wait while safety sensors needed fine calibration. Formerly incarcerated employee Jackson wiped tears with an oil-stained rag, saying someone finally showed America their skill with steel, not stigma. Social media platforms struggled as the hashtag #LendTomorrow surged past election chatter, cat videos, and celebrity breakups, and platform engineers deployed special servers, joking that hope was heavier than cat videos and needed stronger code. Trending maps glowed coast to coast, digital fireworks bursting every time a new school pledged to host a Tomorrow Lab makerspace. Blake awoke to mixed reviews. Critics roasted him for bias, while others praised him for giving Malik the spotlight, even if by accident. He filmed a short online apology, eyes red but voice steady, admitting he entered the interview to win and left learning he needed to listen, and influencers stitched his apology into duet clips, pairing his humility with dance routines that somehow worked. Comment sections, often troll dens, replied with surprising civility, many posting green sneaker emojis as peace offerings. Network executives, reading metrics, offered Malik a primetime special titled Building Bridges, promising creative control and a scholarship fund. They offered ad revenue to seed the scholarship, a move both altruistic and savvy, since Goodwill streams endless reruns. Malik agreed on one condition: the show be filmed in rotating cities, starting with towns that lost factories in the last decade. Economists on cable panels debated whether one company could spark a manufacturing renaissance, but all agreed narrative power moved markets faster than tax cuts. Stock for recycled material suppliers rose 10% before lunch, prompting analysts to coin the term Malik effect in investor newsletters. In barbershops and boardrooms, people repeated his line about lending tomorrow, testing its weight on their tongues like new slang, and podcasts dissected its rhythm, arguing the phrase could replace pay it forward in pocket dictionaries by next year. Children drew pictures of shoes sprouting wings, stapling them to classroom bulletin boards under banners reading Walk into the Future. Community centers received anonymous crates filled with art supplies and note cards that read simply, Build something, send photos, and letters thank the sender with photos of puppet stages built from donated cardboard, plays about rivers and future cities. Sports teams wore limited edition green stride warm-ups during pregame, auctioning them for youth programs, while commentators explained the symbolism. Radio DJs mixed Malik's quotes over upbeat tracks, turning speeches into danceable reminders that change need not sound boring. Late-night comedians tried jokes but pivoted to sincerity when laughter felt shallow beside genuine hope flooding feeds, and one host broke character, wiping an eye, whispering that some nights jokes should rest so hearts can breathe. Blake's show released a statement scheduling a follow-up town hall where audience members, not the host, would ask questions, and pop-up kiosks in city squares streamed the first episode free, encouraging unscripted questions on chalkboards. Tickets sold out in minutes, and scalpers, sensing the shift, cut prices, claiming nobody should profit off community dialogue. University professors added the interview to media ethics curriculums, marking chapters, when the frame breaks and truth walks in. Meanwhile, Malik's grandmother, now 81, sat in her small kitchen stirring tea, quarters still in that jar, those savings now secure. She told local news the jar would stay, reminding family that belief accumulates in small clangs, not one jackpot sound, and she chuckled, saying belief still loves the sound of spare change stacking toward stars. A children's author called asking to adapt her story into a picture book titled Grandma's Coin Drum, Profits Pledged to Literacy Funds. Malik answered emails between forklift inspections, crafting replies that balanced gratitude with boundaries, so focus remained on shoes and community, not celebrity. The email ended with a digital handshake gif featuring two gears meshing, symbolizing partnership over podium battles. He sent Blake a private message thanking him for the platform and suggesting they co-author an op-ed on responsible journalism. Blake replied within minutes, agreeing, hinting at a transformation as radical as the reversible sneaker sole Malik planned for next season. Across the ocean, British morning news ran segments. French newspapers quoted him in translation, and African startups tweeted solidarity. Global supply chain experts scrambled to model algae-based shipping reductions, and ports considered installing local growth ponds near warehouses. Parents reported kids asking for recycled shoes instead of video games, shocking holiday marketing teams preparing usual catalogs. Malik closed the day on a rooftop overlooking Detroit, watching smokestacks now fitted with scrubbers his company funded, skies slightly clearer. He whispered a promise to the silent skyline. Tomorrow's rent is paid, but the lease on hope renews daily. A cool breeze carried factory whistles and distant jazz, mixing into a lullaby he hadn't heard since boyhood porch nights. He pocketed a smooth green soul sample, feeling its springy give, reminder that progress must stay tangible, flexible, and ready to move. As streetlights flicked on, he headed downstairs, knowing long shadows remain, but good shoes travel far, especially in company tonight. A month later, change marched on sneakers instead of boots, measured by fresh paint on closed factory gates now reopening. Detroit City Council passed the Tomorrow Works Ordinance, offering tax breaks to companies proving community hiring ratios, inspired line by Malik's Town Hall special. Neighborhood kids painted murals of gigantic green shoes stepping across maps, footprints sprouting trees where factories once shed smoke. Federal committees invited Malik to testify. He arrived wearing the same charcoal hoodie, carrying binders thicker than phone books yet covered in cartoon gears high-fiving, easing nerves of aides worried about technical jargon. He spoke in sentences teachers would later laminate for hallway posters, explaining supply loops like circles of friends sharing lunch, even noodles of sandwiches sharing themselves, yet the metaphor stuck. Lawmakers, often distracted, leaned in, one senator whispering that the charts made her wish middle school economics had felt so clear. Meanwhile, Blake's follow-up town hall aired live from a resurrected gym in Flint, the smell of fresh paint mingling with popcorn nostalgia under wooden bleachers. He opened by admitting past blind spots, then ceded the moderator role to a student journalist who balanced questions with the calm of a seasoned anchor. Malik answered beside labor leaders and environmental scientists, discussion weaving data and stories like twin threads in one quilt. Viewers said the town hall felt like family dinner, where ideas passed like bowls of mashed potatoes. Corporate boards took notes. Within weeks, 3 major brands released transparent salary ratios, citing viewer demand for fairness in shareholder letters. Universities launched microgrants named after Grandma Gloria, funding first-generation students who save coins toward degrees, and alumni held drive-through coin drops, metal clinking like rain on tin roofs. Tour buses added the Green Stride factory to itineraries, guides explaining algae ponds while tourists snapped selfies wearing disposable shoe covers. Jackson, now shift supervisor, greeted visitors with tours ending at a wall of worker signatures, each autograph a pledge that grew so wide it swallowed an entire corridor by autumn. Internationally, a Kenyan startup adapted Malik's open-source designs into sandals for farmers, reducing injuries from hot soil and sharp stones. Historians predicted those bucket drum parades would land on festival calendars within a decade. Malik's email overflowed. He answered at dawn, setting auto-responses inviting collaboration through a new portal called Tomorrow Hub, where coders animated bouncing coins that triggered soft chimes, gamifying generosity into addictive acts of kindness. The portal's first challenge asked users to design playground equipment from recycled plastics. Within a week, blueprints flooded in from 12 countries. Engineers selected top designs and Malik live-streamed test builds, children climbing slides shaped like giant shoes, laughter echoing like proof of concept. Researchers tracked a 5% rise in youth volunteer hours. Some called the jump statistically stunning for an initiative with zero advertising budget. Psychologists coined the soul effect, describing confidence gained when children believe their inventions matter before reaching high school. Environmental podcasts replayed snippets, calling the heat map a weather forecast for cleaner futures. Schools worldwide streamed the diaries during homeroom, sparking student clubs named Tomorrow Teams fixing local problems, broken benches, littered parks, lonely elders worldwide. Corporate boards and campus groups took notes. One host broke character, wiping an eye, whispering that some nights jokes should rest so hearts can breathe. Malik addressed challenges openly in monthly video diaries, teaching resilience like a coach reviewing game tape after a loss. He reminded viewers that even good shoes step in puddles, but soles wash clean. He compared rubber shortages to missing puzzle pieces, showing how flexibility means designing new edges rather than tossing the whole picture. Community centers printed free tickets for live diary viewings, posting them on grocery boards beside yard sale flyers. He spoke of a drive-through coin drop where metal clinked like rain on tin roofs, reminding families that belief accumulates in small clangs, not one jackpot sound. Lawmakers backstage scribbled notes, guessing Malik's phrases would echo in committee hearings tomorrow. Draft bills were renamed overnight, staff hopeful the new titles would pass easier. In farm country, mechanics tuned radios to catch reruns while welding tractors, proof the message crossed every lane. Startups and Lagos proposed joint ventures, while bamboo fiber innovators in Manila invited Malik to keynote their eco-summit, time zone lines unable to stop retweets. Stock for recycled material suppliers rose 10% again, and analysts coined a term in investor newsletters, the Malik effect replay. Universities added the speech to ethics curriculums under When the Frame Breaks and Truth Walks In. Tour buses now offered Tomorrow Lab stops. Visitors took selfies beside algae ponds and signed a wall of promises. Pop-up kiosks in city squares streamed the next episode free, encouraging passers-by to ask unscripted questions on chalkboards. Advertisers begged for rerun slots, smelling goodwill like fresh cookies cooling on windowsills. Outside, renovated streetlights powered by biomass lit busy sidewalks late into night. Malik stepped onto the sidewalk, listening to blended voices, jazz debate, laughter, America speaking in many keys. He whispered, more to the wind than to any mic, "May our voices stay builders." Confident tomorrow was already lacing up to follow for good. Street artists sprayed a final mural that night, a giant green soul trampling a clock, reminding everyone that the future moves quicker when all push together. Somewhere a child tied cardboard to sneakers trying to copy the design, proof that tomorrow had already begun practicing. A year after that day, Malik returned to Hot Seat stage to share an anniversary special celebrating the change he helped spark. Watching fans felt a spark reach from screen to soul. The set glowed with greenery as potted saplings replaced desk microphones, symbolizing growth and care over conflict. Watching fans felt a spark reach from screen to soul. Producers showed clips of smiles, speeches, and shoe builds, reminding viewers of how one honest minute had blossomed into many actions. Watching fans felt a spark reach from screen to soul. Children filed into seats wearing prototypes from Tomorrow Hub challenges, eager to show their recycled creations and ask new questions. Watching fans felt a spark reach from screen to soul. Blake welcomed them, this time with genuine warmth, and admitted he learned more from those kids than he ever taught them. Watching fans felt a spark reach from screen to soul. Malik spoke first, thanking every viewer who tuned in, every school that opened doors, and every neighbor who passed coins before dawn. Watching fans felt a spark reach from screen to soul. He told stories of new factories in Detroit, Newark, and Cleveland, plants powered by algae ponds and staffed by people once overlooked. Watching fans felt a spark reach from screen to soul. Explaining in simple words, he said communities need jobs like plants need water, and hope grows when care flows freely. Watching fans felt a spark reach from screen to soul. A video montage showed toolboxes handed to teens, welding schools built in libraries, and gardens sprouting beside factory walls. Watching fans felt a spark reach from screen to soul. Malik invited a former skeptic to join him on stage, a reporter who covered social media but doubted real change would last. Watching fans felt a spark reach from screen to soul. The reporter smiled, saying he was wrong to equate internet trends with true commitment, and he shared how he helped open a lab last month. Watching fans felt a spark reach from screen to soul. Applause filled the gym, louder than any first segment had generated, and Malik pointed out that applause is shared, not shouted. Watching fans felt a spark reach from screen to soul. Blake then introduced a live Q&A, and kids from studios nationwide connected via screens, asking Malik how to start their own projects. Watching fans felt a spark reach from screen to soul. Malik answered each with care, drawing diagrams on a whiteboard so simple a sixth grader could copy them at home. Watching fans felt a spark reach from screen to soul. Parents watched alongside, nodding as Malik described collecting scrap materials and turning them into playground art or shoe soles. Watching fans felt a spark reach from screen to soul. One child asked how to turn a broken swing into a science project, and Malik sketched a pulley system that lifted hope with each pull. Watching fans felt a spark reach from screen to soul. Another asked how to convince local leaders to support a library makerspace, and Malik said stories of small wins build big trust. Watching fans felt a spark reach from screen to soul. The camera panned to a mural of a green shoe stepping across a map of Africa, painted by children in Accra inspired by open-source designs. Watching fans felt a spark reach from screen to soul. Malik reminded everyone that ideas need roads to travel, and tools like internet and education build those roads across oceans. Watching fans felt a spark reach from screen to soul. He shared that Tomorrow Hub now had users in 40 countries and translations in 12 languages, proof that hope speaks every tongue. Watching fans felt a spark reach from screen to soul. A school principal in Tokyo called live to thank Malik for lesson plans that made recycling feel like an adventure, not a chore. Watching fans felt a spark reach from screen to soul. Teachers in remote villages in Nepal showed recycled playground designs built by students, smiles bright under Himalayan skies. Watching fans felt a spark reach from screen to soul. Malik paused, breathing in gratitude, and noted that when one person shares, many people shine, like stars in a shared constellation. Watching fans felt a spark reach from screen to soul. He spoke to viewers at home, urging them to ask, "What can I lend to tomorrow?" before scrolling on their phones. Watching fans felt a spark reach from screen to soul. He quoted a student who said, "I built wings for a shoe, but the real wings were in my dreams," and laughter rippled like a breeze. Watching fans felt a spark reach from screen to soul. Malik announced a new challenge, designing low-cost water filters from old sneakers and fabric, turning sols into solutions for thirst. Watching fans felt a spark reach from screen to soul. He explained the science in simple terms. Layers trap dirt, weave holds clean water, and community care pours life through each filter. Watching fans felt a spark reach from screen to soul. Live footage showed filters made in a schoolyard in Rio, students testing muddy water and drinking clean sips with wide eyes. Watching fans felt a spark reach from screen to soul. Malik smiled, reminding viewers that every drop saved is another chance for a child to study by lamplight instead of darkness. Watching fans felt a spark reach from screen to soul. He closed his speech with the line, "Tomorrow is built by hands today," a phrase that seemed to light the room like sunrise. Watching fans felt a spark reach from screen to soul. The final clip replayed the original 60-second interview, now seen as seed rather than solo moment, and viewers cheered again. Watching fans felt a spark reach from screen to soul. As credits rolled, Malik walked backstage and hugged Blake. Both men changed by the journey they shaped together. Watching fans felt a spark reach from screen to soul. Backstage screen showed hashtags trending under hashtag HandsBuildTomorrow and hashtag Sols and Souls, replacing gossip and games. Watching fans felt a spark reach from screen to soul. On social feeds, DIY videos of sneaker filter experiments trended, and families tried corner block experiments in living rooms. Watching fans felt a spark reach from screen to soul. Malik returned home to Detroit that night, stepping onto his porch and listening to distant factory whistles that now ran clean. Watching fans felt a spark reach from screen to soul. He opened his front door to Jasmine, his little sister, who held up a homemade model of the Tomorrow Lab from her school project. Watching fans felt a spark reach from screen to soul. She beamed and said, "I made this because you showed me change starts with small steps," and Malik felt his heart swell. Watching fans felt a spark reach from screen to soul. That night, he updated Tomorrow Hub with new resources for teachers, entrepreneurs, and kids, making sure every step stayed simple. Watching fans felt a spark reach from screen to soul. He set his phone aside and looked at a wall covered in drawings, green shoes walking across maps, water filters, pulley swings, and smiles. Watching fans felt a spark reach from screen to soul. Malik whispered, "We walked together and built tomorrow," tucking that thought into the quiet promise of every sunrise. Watching fans felt a spark reach from screen to soul.